My name's Austin Steinbart, and I am essentially the spokesperson for Q.
So what is Q?
Q is an artificially intelligent mass mind control and manipulation apparatus made by In-Q-Tel Labs, essentially helping us navigate this regime change here. It's conducting a regime change against the United States.
So it's no longer a high-level military official leaking information on a private message board telling patriots to take their country back.
Yeah, I think there was confusion about that. Right, the person, Q, would be prosecuted for insurrection. But since it's the computer, there's no law that says this AI thing can't do this regime change here, right? As someone who legitimately thinks that we should have a new country with a new flag and a new government in Kansas, essentially it is moving, adjusting to help us navigate this storm.
After attending the QAnon shaman's welcome home party last week in Arizona, freedom! I had a lot of questions. For the most part, he gave some really interesting answers.
Yeah, I like older women, I like MILFs, but definitely not going the 60+ range.
But I forgot to ask him, who the hell is Q? Typically, I hate leaving an interview with unanswered questions, but a good friend of mine had also just gotten out of prison, and I had plans to go and meet him down on 55th Street.
Andrew, it's Crip Mac. Everything right now in the turf seem like it's real hot. Just meet me down on Skid Row. We'll take care of business down there. On hood.
All right, I was ready to go. However, my cameraman Larry was not happy.
Bro, why didn't you fucking ask him about Q?
I don't know, bro. I wanted to make it seem like I was like chill, not one of these like CNN ass like snitch like reporter fools. Like
He's the QAnon shaman, and you're asking him about MILFs.
though I could sense my camera team turning on me, I had to maintain my boss-like composure.
What the fuck?
But deep down, I wanted to cry because I knew he was right. Then, out of nowhere, I got a cryptic drop from the man himself. Let's bowl. Without hesitation, we headed to Fat Cats, a bowling alley outside of Phoenix, to link back up with the shaman. I decided to invite some people from his homecoming event. More specifically, rapper Uncle Pill
Bro, I came here for the pulled pork.
and my old friend Kelly J. Patriot.
As it says right behind me, freedom is not free.
As expected, Kelly pulled out his gun immediately.
This is Arizona. I got a quick loader. Of course, you got that guy going right there. That guy going right there.
The vibes were all there, and soon, the Q Shaman showed up, said what's up to a couple fans, and got to knocking pins down like it was January 6, 2021.
Those pins are like the bad guys. They're all going down.
A few minutes later, I pulled Jake to the side and asked him,
Hey, who's this Q guy?
and he straight up told me, bro, Q is here right now, at the bowling alley. I couldn't believe my ears. Was it Uncle Pill, who claimed he was only there for the pulled pork? Or was it the guy behind him with a face tattoo, drinking tequila in silence? Or maybe it was Kelly.
Kobe Bryant was assassinated by the Quins. Don't tread on me. Don't even think about it.
That's when Jake explained to me that Q is not a person. It's an AI algorithm coded by a tight-knit group of accelerationist hackers, one of whom is Jake's close buddy, Austin Steinbart,
We are going to have so much fun.
an alleged time traveler and commune leader with a fascinating backstory.
So I don't know if you know, but like my grandpa was one of those Germans that worked for the SS that they brought over here, and he lived his entire life under a fake name.
Austin is not really a Trump supporter. He wants to see a complete overthrow of the American political establishment, using any means necessary to then start from scratch. Then build a new nation centered around a circular obelisk in Kansas. Q is simply an artsy psyop designed to push the MAGA crowd over the edge and bring forth the American apocalypse.
It's conducting a regime change against the United States.
Anyways, guys, whenever Austin's not on his QAnon grind, he does other interesting things.
I've done a lot of things, gotten into a lot of medical labs, hospitals.
He recently spent about a year in prison for stealing the brain scans of NFL players from a hospital in California.
I was essentially trying to find an alternative for Adderall, and I was trying to show my mom why I smoke so much weed, right? Because I just have a really fast mind. We're at this world-class, super-duper clinic, right? And on this computer, there's a thing that says NFL patient files. One click, Terry Bradshaw, everyone under the sun, right? So I didn't hack anything. I literally was like, hey, check this out. Second I started doing that, posting that stuff on social media, my house, everything started getting hacked. I started getting gang stalked, started getting followed.
The FBI began investigating Austin, and attorneys representing the hospital reached out to him and said, "Hey, please give us the brain scans back." Austin responded by saying, "Unless you guys want nuclear Armageddon to rain down on all of your heads, you will immediately apologize to my parents." So obviously there's like a whole rabbit hole I wanted to go down with Austin about this. But I felt like that would kind of be a waste of time, especially because to me this felt like the conclusion to a very long journey. And I had so many questions for him. As many of you know, I've been covering QAnon for a very long time. I first heard about it back in 2020.
Save our children!
Children, let's get it.
Are you fucking kidding me? Those are real children.
At a Save Our Children rally in Hollywood.
Save Our Children movement was, I think there was like beginning to be a like mass awareness of like how pervasive this human trafficking problem was. Nobody likes pedophiles, right?
Save our children!
To be honest, whenever I covered this rally, I was 23 years old.
I'm out here.
Less concerned about the children and more concerned with finding a rapper everywhere that I went.
Day by day, I started to notice the way they use COVID to control us. It started with a mask that happened fast, took away our smiles, just like that. Yeah, the awakening is so evident because of all the evidence, manipulated rhetoric. This is now the end of it. Baby blood for benefit, mass manipulation of our generation, starting with our nation. No more waiting. Y'all are getting flagrant, buying, selling babies, raping on our children. Afterwards, you kill them. That's it. Yeah.
I learned shortly after that this particular event had nothing to do with the actual Save Our Children charity, which is a $1 billion charity that was founded about 100 years ago. This organization had simply stolen their name to shed light on a different issue. I was told these protesters were followers of something called QAnon, an online disclosure movement exposing a horrifying industry in Hollywood.
A lot of these producers and executive producers, guys with money, guys with power, they trade and use these children as a form of currency.
They claim that A-list actors, rappers, and pop stars personally engage in the abduction of children.
You know, you kidnap the kids and then you take them in somewhere scary, you wear a bunch of masks, and you not only kill them, but you scare them to death as much as possible in the process.
Scaring the children to a point at which they release a certain amount of adrenaline or a lot of adrenaline into their blood.
And it goes up in their blood at the adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome.
And their blood is laced with that, and that gives you some kind of high.
It creates a high that I guess you don't get from any other drug. The higher up, the elite, they pay millions of dollars for that.
And then that is then harvested and utilized to gain power and energy.
That comes from the blood of children who have been tortured and frightened beyond belief.
They think it's going to make them immortal.
It's been a widely known thing for a long time, going back to Vlad the Impaler, right? And even before that, that if you consume the blood of children or babies, right, youthful antibodies ward off aging.
So this idea of baby eating, it goes way, way, way back into antiquity. Ancient Greece, ancient Rome, ancient Babylon, ancient Sumer. There's these dueling factions of what is called magical circles. Ceremonial magic, black magic versus white magic, life magic versus death magic. And they are largely Thelemites, or basically Aleister Crowley disciples. And the head priest would, during a sex ritual, get together, have sex, he would impregnate her. And then a year later, to the day, on the same ritual, after that child was 3 months old, because 9 months, 3-month-old child, they would then burn the infant alive and everybody in the covenant would eat the infant. And this somehow would imbibe them with magical powers. How do you think Epstein would make some of these people, these Satan worshipers and stuff, feel comfortable? By not eating the baby with them? Where does the line get drawn? Now, he also had on his temple on Epstein Island a owl. The owl god Moloch sitting on his temple.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah, and dude, it's not anti-Semitic to say that George Soros is evil. Within the structure of power in the world, there are pyramids. And there are pyramids within pyramids. And the way that you get to the tippy top of these pyramids is if they have you a part of these rituals. I'll give you an example.
Don't you know when Tom Cruise jumped on Oprah Winfrey's couch that day? He was on adrenochrome.
Seemed pretty straightforward. But to be honest, I was a little bit bummed. I mean, they say knowledge is power, but what use is it standing around in the streets yelling all day?
We're all asleep. Watch The Matrix. See
who you are. Are you a blue pill? Are you a red pill? Wake up.
I wanted to fight back, but I just didn't know how. That's when I was told of a secret conservative direct action, a tactical strike against one of these satanic corporations.
We're storming IKEA tomorrow morning, Sunday at 10:30 a.m. We're going to storm IKEA. They're absolute tyrannists. They're absolutely Nazis. This is Nazi Germany. This is the time that we have to save our country. You know, you guys, this is a whole issue about the pedophilia, about satanic pedophilia. There's tons of it online.
I was stoked, amped, to pull up to IKEA and show these freaking pedos who's boss. But I still had no goddamn idea how IKEA was involved in this whole shit show.
IKEA. They are a Swedish firm. IKEA is owned by this family has majority stake in this family called the Wallenbergs. And the Wallenbergs are one of those, how do I say this? So they say that it is an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory to say that
The next morning, I met Peggy outside the Burbank IKEA.
They're the ones who are controlling the money and the power, and I feel that each of us have to take the responsibility to go down the rabbit hole and find out the information that's available. We're slaves. It's not BLMs. They're not the only people who are slaves, not people of color. Everybody.
She pulled up with a couple homies, most of whom I recognized from the rally. What's the plan?
Gosh, I'm lost. I'm at a loss for words. Ask the organizer.
The plan for today is to educate businesses that they really don't have to comply. So we start off peacefully and see if they're willing to allow us to shop without a mask.
I was so disappointed. They weren't talking about the children at all.
Unless you're a doctor, you're not allowed to make me take any kind of medical advice.
As it turned out, during that time in 2020, you had to wear a mask if you wanted to enter IKEA. And so by storm IKEA, they meant enter IKEA with no mask on.
I prefer to shop this way. I am not ill.
God intended for our faces not to be covered.
After waiting for an hour, we got to the front of the line. Security stopped us, which brought the line to a standstill. But after 15 minutes of pleading, they agreed to let us through. After being booed by a bunch of liberal sheep in line, we took our religious exemption cards with us and walked around IKEA. They didn't buy me anything or have anything substantial to say about the kids, so I left. Honestly, I kind of felt like a jackass, but sometimes that's the price you pay for being on the right side of history.
I mean, it could be better, but we did really good today. God bless you, Sweden.